AskReddit by Redstone.pl. What movie could have been over in 10 minutes if the main character wasn't such a fool? The Visit. Kids, we're going to visit our grandparents. Mom, I don't want you to go, but if you feel like you really want to go, I'll drive you to their house. Mom, hey, you're lamed my parents. I'm calling the police. The end. I can't stand that the mother didn't apologize once in the movie for just leaving her kids with two crazy murderers. The Ring. Girl 1, hey, do you wanna watch the tape that kills you in 7 days? Girl 2, no thanks. No thanks. Let's watch the tape that kills you in 3 days instead. I heard it's much better. Double quote. Not a movie, but 13 reasons why. The fucking kid just couldn't listen to the damn tapes. It's literally the first thing she tells him. It's what everyone repeats to him a million times. He runs around, asking PPL shit instead of listening to the tapes. In the book, he reads the tapes in one night. There'll be a chapter of the night, then a flashback chapter of that specific tape, and it would continue to go back and forth overnight. Unfortunately, Netflix made an average book an awful show. I mean, Dorothy should have asked a few more questions about the ruby slippers. Imperial Officer 1, there goes another one. Imperial Officer 2, hold your fire, there's no life forms. Imperial Officer 1, dude, we're looking for an inanimate set of plans in a galaxy full of sentient robots. Imperial Officer 2, oh, right. Written and directed by George Lucas. My headcanon is that only the highest ranking officers would have been aware they were specifically after the plans and not the passengers of the Corvette, so looking out for things like droids and other belongings might not have filtered down the command chain. Jurassic Park if Hammond actually spared no expense. Hammond spared no expense. 15 minutes later. I told you how many times we needed locking mechanisms on vehicle doors. How the fuck do you have a T-Rex but not locks on the car doors? Not a movie, but Breaking Bad would have worked out much better for Walt if he had just swallowed his pride and allowed his old friend to pay for his cancer treatment. I know, right? My rich friend will pay for everything and all I have to do is play Candy Crush and eat Pop-Tarts, but you know what, I'm going to make drugs and kill people instead. Literally not picking Anakin to be Padme bodyguard when the sexual tension between them is thicker than Jabba. Or just buying his mother out of slavery. He is supposed to be detached from her, would sure be easier if he knew she was safe. Reservoir Dogs. I dunno, Joe. This heist seems kinda risky and dangerous. Yeah, I'm not actually sure everyone in this crew is on the up and up. It's off. Over the Hedge. RJ decided to be a dum-dum and steal all of the bear's food. Like, what did he think would happen? Even if he didn't accidentally wake him up, the bear would still have woken up a week later and probably would have known it was RJ. Edit. Although I suppose if RJ never stole the food he would still be a con man in the forest. Animals likely would have starved to death that year, so. Dang, I haven't heard someone reference Over the Hedge in years, lol. Aladdin. If Jafar would have just paid Aladdin what he promised him instead of betraying him at the cave, he would have had a lamp and become king, be mighty powerful. Aladdin just wanted his money in return for the lamp. For real. It's not like Aladdin would have been able to do anything about Jafar using the lamp. No Country for Old Men. Never go back to the scene of the crime. Also, if you find a duffel bag full of cash and decide to keep it, check it for tracking devices. Deleted. Or if he'd have let Mac go to bed, maybe the back hatch wouldn't have been opened, unchecked, etc. Or if he hadn't have been speeding like the little daredevil he is, he might have gotten to the second race, Maybe knowing this time why tires are important. Or if the cars weren't even cars. Look, cars to me falls under Bellisario's principle. Some movies don't have to make sense to be enjoyable. Not the main character, but don't reopen the beach for the holiday weekend in Jaws. Any horror movie where your friends are dying one by one. After the third one, you say fuck it and leave. Third. After one death I'm out of there and not coming back without the cops. Any movie where the main character says there's no time to explain. This made me think of Princess Bride. Let me explain. No, there is too much. Let me sum up. Such a good movie. I suppose a summation is good enough. 50 Shades of Grey. Anna, you're an abusive stalker with serious emotional trauma. Seek help. You're using BDSM as a mask for your trauma and abusive tendencies. That is bad BDSM. Star Wars Episode 1. Not exactly 10 minutes, but Padme could have bought Anakin's mom and he would have probably never turned to the dark side. Republic credits may not be worth much on Tatooine, but I'm sure one of her jewel-encrusted headdresses is. Or if anyone had asked Anakin how he was doing and if he wanted to talk. But the story of the prequels is essentially the old Jedi were stupid and kinda deserved it. If Emma and Mrs. Bueller were anything like my parents, the movie would have been called Ferris Bueller's Day at School. If they were anything like my parents they would have called my bluff, taken me to the doctor's office, and found out, to my own surprise as well, that I had bronchitis. Forget movies. How I Met Your Mother took 9 years, a 5-minute story. Kids, I was at a wedding, and your mom was the bass player. The end. Pretty much anything on the Hallmark Channel. Wait, let me explain. I am dying of a women's disease. Batman Begins. The Waynes shouldn't have left through the side exit of the theater. Just call Alfred and wait out front. Just hire a driver to pick you up at the entrance like every other elite rich person. John Wick. If Theon would have just killed John, considering they fucked Han up pretty bad, not only would we not have gotten 3 movies, but Theon would be known as the person who killed Baba Yaga. Being the son of a crime lord and worldwide recognition for killing the most famous assassin on the planet would make the Tarasov family untouchable. Hi, is a car for sale? No. Left double quotation mark. Where did you buy it? I'm a mobster's son with a literal bottomless checkbook. Murray's Classic Vehicles. Drop my name John Wick, and they'll give you a good deal. Hey, thanks. Star Wars. After discovering that Anakin could be very powerful with the Force, but had a lot of fear and attachment issues over his mother, the Council sends Obi-Wan back to Tatooine to buy his mother out of slavery and relocate her to Coruscant in a safe neighborhood. Anakin now knows that even without him in the picture his mother will live a safe and happy life and can detach from her much more easily than leaving her alone on a savage world, and even if he isn't able to fully detach from her he never has the impetus to slaughter the Sand People and kickstart his descent to the dark side. It's not a sure plan, but certainly one that would produce a version of Anakin who ends up resenting the Jedi just a little less. Maybe even enough to no slaughter younglings in the future. TBF Palpatine would have engineered some other tragedy for her. Please, Lightning McQueen, change your tires in this pit stop. Okay. Tires wouldn't have blown in the last lap and he would have won, as he was comfortably leading the race. No need for a tiebreaker race. Emperor's New Groove. Isma originally says that she could just turn him into a flea, put that flea in a box, put that box into another box, and eventually send it to herself so she could smash it with a hammer. Then she says to save on postage, she'll just use poison which ends up not being poison. Even if she went with the original plan, he'd be a flea, and, for all intents and purposes, out of the picture pretty instantly. Izma fucked herself trying to save like a quarter. Or if Kuzco wasn't a fool and saw past Izma, or wasn't an asshole to everyone, which helped push the whole let's get rid of him mentality. Deleted. Also, Elsa, you can't marry a man you just met. Anna, you're right. School of Rock Mrs. Mullins, can I see your ID Mr. Sheebley? Dewey, sorry I don't have it Mrs. Mullins. Sorry you won't be able to teach the kids unless you have proof you're a teacher who you are. Credits. Hey man, she's under a lot of stress, you have no idea how angry these parents get. She wasn't always like this, you know. Don't swim to the drop-off, Nemo. Okay dad. Credits. That was the most predictable reaction for a kid his age though. Mullen shouldn't have put him down in front of his new friends and been so rude about his fin. That should have been a private conversation. There is actually a term for this. Idiot plot. https://tvtropes.org/pmwiki/pmwiki.php/main/idiot plot close bracket. 28 days later. How about we don't let the diseased rage monkey out of the cage? And with 28 weeks later, they really should have kept On's wife locked up better. The main antagonist in Suicide Squad is a member of the team, Enchantress, who turned out to be evil and gains power thanks to some magic MacGuffin that the lady running the team uses to control her. Literally the entire plot of Suicide Squad wouldn't have happened if they didn't bother assembling the fucking Suicide Squad. Edit wow, this blew up, thanks for the awards. I never imagined my most upvoted comment would be about this piece of shit movie. Waller, I have an idea. We start a team of supervillains and use them to do our dirty work. Government guy who would authorize this? No. The end. Rent. Hey, Mom, Mark here. I'm sorry, it didn't work out. I'm being evicted. Can I go home again? Credits. Inside Out. In the scene where Sadness and Joy meet the two workers in the long term, they send the gum commercial memory through the wall, the little flap that opens if you push a memory through it, and up to headquarters. IDK why they didn't think of sending the core memories through that instead. Edited, fixed the grammar. There's an entire theory that Joy actually thought of it but knew that Sadness would come too, so she kept it to herself. Later in the movie when Joy takes the tube she calls it a recall tube, which is weird because nobody has called it that in the entire movie. It's made obvious that Joy hates Sadness, so how ridiculous is it that Joy would risk it to make sure Sadness does not make it back? Frozen. The parents completely isolated Elsa from the world, leaving her with insecurity and anxiety. They also seemingly neglected her as her behavior was never in check, which is why she continuously butted her way into Elsa's space when she clearly needed some time alone to clear her head. Maybe if they two actually talked instead of Anna's near assault on Elsa, something could have been worked out that didn't include running away and getting hypothermia in a semi-frozen river. The parents are dumb. Instead of trying to control the powers and finding a way to work as a kingdom and as a family, they close down and separate the sisters. Neither of them seem to have friends. It's a miracle their social skills are still, relatively, sharp. Sleeping Beauty. Honey, we should invite Maleficent to our daughter's christening. I know she's the mistress of all evil, but it'd probably end up worse for us if we don't invite her. And then Maleficent insisted on one-upping the good fairies by giving Aurora the best gift. Huh. I can't see the Indominus Rex. Let me just take a look at the GPS tracking device. Oh. It's in the cage but invisible. Better not open any doors or go inside. Better idea, should we genetically engineer an apex predator the size of a Trex that's also pretty smart? Nah man, what if it escapes tree? She's the man. Sorry, you're very clearly a girl dressed as a boy. Do you even go here? Credits. Edit. I was always factoring in the way she talked to sound like her brother, lol. And, if your brother is in London and you're in his school pretending to be him, where does everyone else think you are? Not the main character, but Star Wars. The Empire grabs Leia's ship and the droids escape in a capsule. There's no life forms. Hold your fire. No, wait. Droids exist in this universe and could be carrying those plans Vader wants. Let's pull that ship in or dispatch some TIE fighters to intercept it or something. A short time later. So, we pulled apart those droids. The golden one was useless, but the astromech had the plans. Vader, excellent. You will be rewarded for this. Why did I imagine Vader saying excellent like Mr. Burns? Wait a minute, Doc. What are you talking about? What happens to us in the future? What, we become assholes or something? No, no, no. You and Jennifer both turn out fine. It's your kids, Marty. Something's gotta be done about your kids. Well, Doc, if this happens in the future, why don't you come inside, and we talk about it over a couple of beers? We'll make a note to make sure those kids don't misbehave 30 years from now. Let's hurry, though, we have an important day ahead of us. That can be argued that showing them was the teaching. You can't just tell a teenager something and have them remember it 30 years down the line easy peasy. Marty had to be taught not to let needles wind him up. Deleted. What? Are we paying by the laser? Jeepers creepers, just mind your own business and keep driving. Jumanji next level. Bro Spencer, you idiot. He was depressed and wanted to escape his life. People do stupid, crazy things when they are depressed. He never expected his friends to come in after him. Avengers Infinity War. As soon as Moore and Cull landed in New York, Doctor Strange could have used the time stone repeatedly to his advantage. That's the whole problem now. At any point he could have just, I don't know, frozen time? Or stick those idiots in a time loop or just, reverse time so they were ready for them. You can't have all-powerful time travel introduced because it makes every other problem you don't solve with it seem pointless and stupid. Home Alone year sick, just forget about one of your kids. Home Alone 2, congratulations on learning from your mistakes and managing to get your kid to the airport this time, and he's gone. CPS, yeah, most people don't lose their kid once a year. We're gonna come over and see what's up. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Just portkey Harry to the graveyard right off the bat, you fool. Deleted. Gone with the Wind. If Ashley had just told Scarlett in plain English that he loved Melanie, then Scarlett would have given up chasing him. Instead he would say things like, she's like me, we're blood, they were cousins, we understand each other, etc. Scarlett misinterpreted that to mean he didn't love her, but was marrying her for other reasons. It wasn't until the end that after Melanie died that Scarlett realized Ashley loved Melly and not her. She wasted years of her life on something that could have been cleared up with a simple phrase. I don't know about where you live, but expecting rich Southerners to speak plain English to one another when doing so is sure to lead to public unpleasantness is slightly unrealistic. Well, if Voldemort had conjured a shotgun to kill Harry Potter, not even a mother's love would have saved him from that. But no, he had to be all melodramatic and Avalokitavra the little chosen one. He was a baby. You could do it with a bucket of water. Deleted. The Martian. All 6 astronauts are fools, as are all the planners at NASA. If it were even remotely possible that the lander could be toppled in a Martian windstorm, The first order of business upon landing would have been to tie it down, secure against such a threat. And Weir said he fudged the science on that. There's not enough wind on Mars, and he knew that. But he couldn't think of another way to strand his character, so he went with it.